You overthinking again? Same. If you're an introvert or a shy human, come join us.
We're learning to grow and take up space. We're your host. I'm Kay.
And I'm Em. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 43. And in our last episode, we talked about how our big move sort of shaped our personalities and how we became SIO. So we'll be explaining that in a bit. But in this episode, we're going to focus primarily on how that actually showed up in our lives and the choices we made because of it.
And because we identified so much as being SIOs, we really never questioned it, right? It just felt normal for us to hold back, stay comfortable, and not go after what we wanted. But then when we started reflecting, as we do for this podcast, we realized how we were limiting ourselves, and it was a really sucky feeling to feel. So naturally, we asked ourselves, are you being yourself or playing small? If this question sparks anything within you, then stick around and let's talk through it.
Indeed, we will. And before anything, so SIO, again, like I mentioned before, is a term that we're going to be coining throughout our podcast in general. SIO for us means shy, introverted, and overthinking.
And with this, Em and I identified ourselves as this, which caused us to play small. And I think a lot of us can relate to playing small at some point in our lives, but we kind of took it on overdrive and lived from this space, this very, very small corner that we allowed ourselves to be in. This impacted us at work, career choices, or lack thereof, the friendships we never actually saw bloom because we stopped it at the first interaction, or even just internally with the things that we really wanted to do and just never did. For me personally, at work, I can think of a lot of moments where I wanted to speak up and I didn't, where I wanted to apply for a promotion or even speak up about a promotion or raise. And I just stayed quiet, thinking I didn't deserve it or I wasn't going to get it. And for me, like that feeling of rejection was just too much for me to handle. And again, this is all like subconscious, but a lot of overthinking, a lot of internal battles. I feel like maybe towards people at work, like managers and all of that, it may have seemed like I didn't care or maybe I wasn't trying, but really I was just holding back a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can relate in the sense that it did affect my career or just job opportunities in general. Because again, like you were mentioning, all these battles are internally, and we are having like this dialogue with ourselves. Oh, you're not good enough. Why are you applying for this? Or who do you think you are? You can't live up to their standards. It got to the point where I had to put on like this front, this person that was like outgoing and like that it girl that had to do the thing when really it was just exhausting who I was. And it made me get to a point where I couldn't continue. I had like this mental breakdown. I just couldn't. For other things as well, applying for that dream job or pursuing like a career opportunity that I thought was like this is me and stuff, but getting to that point was like, "Oh no, who do you think you are? You can't do that. Don't do it."
I relate to that. I wanted to become a holistic health and wellness coach for the longest time. And I actually toyed around with this idea probably for, I want to say 5 years. And I just went back and forth. Should I do it? Should I not? One of the things that stopped me was definitely financials. And then after I decided go for it, and I finally did it. I took that step. It felt great, but then my overthinking mind started again. It's like, well, okay, now you have this, but you can't actually like have this because you're going to try it and you're going to fail. You're not going to be good at this. Nothing's ever going to come from it. So after I got my certificate, I didn't try. I didn't actually give it a full shot. It's just sad to think about how much first I overthought just taking the action, and then I did it, and then I didn't go all
Yeah.
in on it.
Like now that we're doing this this internal work or this form of reflection, you realize how many opportunities were sabotaged from within, it's sad because, like, think about the life
Mhm.
that we would have been on right now, or the things that we could have accomplished or not. I mean, but still, it's that instance of at least trying and choosing you first over what other people might say in this made up fantasy of what we think people will say.
Mhm. And also, like, not only trying, but just going for the thing that we want and being okay with the fact that we may fail. But what I have learned in the last few years is that trying and failing feels a whole lot better than not trying and
Yeah.
failing anyways because you didn't even try.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. I think what you said earlier about at your job where you had to put this personality, I feel like I have done the same for all of my jobs, except it was the opposite where I would become really reserved and really quiet. And most people that have known me from work in general, they would probably tell you that I'm super quiet, maybe almost mute, and I only speak when I have to. I just hid my personality a lot at work. When I would go home, I could finally be myself, or when I was with my friends and just be chatty and talk and be animated. But it was like these two different versions of myself that one the one at work obviously was not the authentic one. Well,
Yeah.
obvious to me, probably not to them. They probably thought that's how I was all the time. So I think it's really interesting that the way you coped with these overwhelming feelings and the style personality, right? I went on the route of like muting my personality, not even having a personality. That was my defense mechanism. And yours was to put on this persona. So I just think it's really interesting how you and we essentially were masking ourselves to, like, cope.
Honestly, during that time, I didn't even know it was something that was happening within me due to a product of, and I thought that that was just who I was and I was gonna outgrow it at some point. So, realizing now,
Mhm.
reflecting now, I don't know, it's sad to think that all of these things could have been changed, you know?
Yeah, we were just coping, right? Yeah, so work relationships has always been tough for me, and it sounds like for you too, right,
Yeah, I've never been able to keep them just because I don't think the relationship went into a what do you call it? Past the basic type of friendliness that one, does. It didn't get more than that.
Mhm.
And it's not like I was pushing it either. Like I was okay to be just superficial. And I feel like that is actually, now that I'm thinking on it, maybe it's because I don't know how to like, go past the superficial of talking. Like, I always share basic
Mhm.
information. Like, I don't know if I don't have the skill, or if I do, then I don't know what it is. Am I making sense?
Yeah. No, you are definitely. I think that is a skill, and of course, you're learning more about yourself and allowing yourself to feel, and you have been for the past, what, year, 2, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Before that, if you couldn't do that for yourself, how could you do that for others?
Yeah, that is true. No, you're right, you're right. It is this whole reflection thing is so good, but it's also, like I mentioned before, it's sad.
Yeah, I agree when I think back also on how I could have just been myself. Like right now, it seems kind of easy, not easy, but less difficult than before. But before, it wasn't even a thought in my mind that, hey, I could just show up at work, I could show up anywhere in life and just be me. It wasn't something that I thought could happen. I just thought there's work K, there's home K, there's family K, there's romantic relationships, K. And did I say friendship? Because that's like all these different sides of me personalities. And I feel like for me, I struggle with keeping things surface level. I get deep and I feel like maybe sometimes people don't want that. So they're like, girl, I just met you, but I don't want to. But then the people who do allow me to get deep with them and let's talk about what's bugging you, I feel like that's why I've been able to keep those friendships because like you were saying, like it does if you don't get past that first level, you can still be friends with them, but it may not last as long, or I think maybe in the long run, something may feel like it's lacking.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
then I am also a believer of like you have different friends. You have some friends who you get deep with, you have some friends who you don't. And that's okay too, because one person, one friend, one romantic partner cannot fulfill every part of us, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
The whole theme is like, how many opportunities did we miss?
Yeah, that's true. Or, like, living up to whatever freedom we wanted to be able to, like, be that person that just went for whatever they
Yeah, like I
wanted.
remember, I know that you're different than me in this aspect, then, but like for me, part of my shyness involves the way that I dress. Like, I sometimes want to dress a little more feminine and like flirty and wear more dresses and like, take time to like do the whole makeup, hair thing. However, most of the time I am very plain Jane, we'll say. And I do like that too, right? But there are moments where I don't want to dress that way, but I just don't do it because I feel like, like what's the point of trying? It's just gonna well actually, I don't know. Why don't I? Sometimes it's laziness, but other times it's like I'm afraid to take up space in that way. Maybe
Do
fear
you
that
mean
people
for
will judge me for trying.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well, I
"Wow, you
mean,
tried and you still look blah."
but, this is an interesting thing to touch on because, yeah, like you were saying, I guess I'm super opposite in the way that I will wear whatever the fuck I want to, even if it's, like, really outrageous. But I feel like in terms of that, it's more of, like, myself. Like, it's okay with myself, and it's not affecting anyone
Mhm.
else. Therefore, I don't have to worry about that, if that
It
makes sense.
doesn't to me because I don't think that way, and I think, well, the way that I'm presenting myself, right, other people are gonna have opinions on it, and I know it's so
Mhm.
lame and it's so silly, and I don't wanna be this way. I have improved so much from how I used to be, but we're looking at the past, right? So before, I would literally hold back so much on what I would wear, like, I would wear really oversized hoodies because I didn't like how skinny I was. I would just literally try to cover my body and even my face with my hair as much as possible because I didn't want to be seen. I wasn't comfortable with people looking at me. So physically, I was trying to hide myself too. And you've always been comfortable, right? Wearing whatever you want.
Yeah, I would even go up and above to be as different as possible, and I feel like now that I'm thinking about it, it was I think it was the only outlet that I had to be in control of something in my life, because otherwise everything else was revolving about someone else, something else, the judge of something else, even though that sounds kind of weird, and, like, outfits and my personal appearance was the only thing that I was able to control.
Very interesting. But and you never thought about how what other people would think? Or you
I mean,
did
I'm
and you
sure
didn't
I
care because
did.
you're like,
Yeah, because it was only something that was affecting me. It wasn't affecting anyone else or anything. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but in my head, it
"No,
makes
I think
sense.
that is how we all should think. How we're dressing is only impacting us. So it may impact others in the way where their thoughts, but that's their own thoughts, right?"
You know, the funny part is that if I didn't wear something that would make me feel like myself, then I'd go into, like, this spiral of, like, I can't do this, I won't go out, like a complete shutdown
This is so much to unpack, but we will do that. Maybe in another episode, we can talk about like healing through
through clothing.
fashion, clothing, and yeah, because it's a thing. Remember, we talked about how we dress is how we want to feel. But for now, for us just reflecting back on how these qualities impacted us, being a style is an internal experience regardless of what you look like on the outside. So, who's a celebrity? Okay. Bad Bunny
Yeah, there you
apparently
go.
is
Mhm.
shy. And you would look at him, he's so expressive in the way he dresses. He's on stages, yet he has admitted to being shy and having to push himself to start talking to people.
Yeah. I mean, gosh only knows what type of struggles he went through or is going through and how it manifested in his life. And I guess that goes for anyone out there. Don't judge someone just because they're being quiet in this moment. Most likely they are battling with something that you don't know or something that you can relate to as well.
Mhm. Bringing it to the old saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." You just we never know what somebody's going through, and it's always best to just give people the benefit of the doubt, especially when it's like a one-off case, and obviously, like, just because I thought M was stuck up, I also thought, "Well, I could be wrong, like, maybe she is shy," but, if I were to bet money, I was gonna bet on the stuck up version, the stuck up more than the
FYI, I'm
shy.
not stuck up, okay? But I have gotten that before.
No, she's not.
Or RBTF, or
Yeah.
what is it, resting bitch face? Because I don't know how to control my
Yep.
facial
Yep,
expressions.
yep.
Overthinking them,
Oh, me neither. Same, 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 same.
I mean, speaking of facial expressions and bringing more of this internal world, I feel like not only have I been judged or felt bad about my facial expressions or how I'm supposed to be perceived or what I'm not doing, I feel like this also goes to like things of, for example, okay, this is TMI, but like, I feel pressured going to the restroom in a crowded room because I feel like all the attention is gonna be on me, and I don't want that attention, but I really need to be. But, the struggle, I don't know if you relate with that.
I do. This used to be very, very heavy for me. Not as much anymore. I've still working through that, but every time I have to get up in front of a whole bunch of people, it is literally like being back in high school and having to walk across the cafeteria with your tray on your hand
Oh gosh.
in front of all these kids that you don't know, that they don't know you. That's I used to get that feeling often and I hated it.
Yeah, I think the other big one for me as well was, okay, this is embarrassing, but not being able to, like, ask a simple question to a random person, you know what I mean? Yeah, I can
Mhm.
feel the cringe. Obviously, all these examples that we're giving has gotten a lot better and things have changed, but this is the reality of things that we went through and sometimes still go through.
Yeah, sometimes I still have to push myself to remember, okay, calling to place an order is not that difficult. So
Mhm.
let's push it and let's do it. I don't really think there's very few times where it's like something that I don't stop and have to think about and kind of remind myself that it's okay to do this. Or like even to this day, if somebody gets my order wrong, unless it's non-vegan because I do eat a vegan diet, I'm not I'll eat it. I
You
guess
were right,
my
I
meal
was wrong.
changed and I yeah, because I feel bad. It's so and I don't even know why I feel bad. If they got my order wrong, they got it wrong, right? I could say it in a nice way, but I think what I fear is that I would make them feel bad or maybe that they would get angry. And again, these are all examples of us not taking up space, not
Yeah.
speaking up for
Mhm.
what we want, what we ordered. There's this really funny video from this she's a TikToker, but she's also on Instagram. I think her name is, like, Jolene, and she's like, "When you're taking an Uber and you're too shy, so you end up in another country, cause like, you won't speak up to tell
I've
your Uber
seen them.
driver."
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, all of these small things that you'd think they'd be like the most basic thing that anyone could do them are not. Like, for example, I I would really love to just go on a solo walk every morning. And granted, I do sometimes, but most of those times I overthink what I'm gonna be wearing out. Am I gonna put glasses on? Do I want a hat? Do I want to this and that? And it's just it's exhausting. And
Some things out there maybe for people who don't relate, but you're probably not listening to this. Um, some things you take for granted okay, like, I have another example, actually. I had been wanting to dye my hair for the longest time, get bangs for the longest time, and it literally took me, like, 5 years since I wanted to do those things to actually just say, "Let me fuck around and find out." And then I did, and I didn't like how my hair was dyed, but it's okay, you live, you learn. And then, I ended up doing bangs for myself.
That totally makes sense because it's just the example of you and dressing, you know what I mean? It is, you're not leaving space for yourself. You're, like, at the back burner.
Yeah, that is true.
But overall, we're choosing to not do this anymore.
Yeah.
I guess thinking back and sort of trying to answer our question, now reflecting, I was playing it small. During that time, I was just trying to be me and survive like anyone else, right? I thought that was just normal and I would outgrow that, like mentioned before. But yeah, I definitely think it was a playing small moment.
And for me, I would definitely say that I was also playing small, not being myself, not my full self. And if I'm being honest, the only person who has seen the most authentic part of me is myself in the past. Now I do feel bad for myself for limiting myself so much and not just being free to be me, but now we're working on that and I'm allowing myself to take up as much space as I need. You deserve it, Em, and we all deserve to take up as much space as we require and not feel bad about that.
And also, I feel like for whoever else is listening, it's okay to not realize if you're being your authentic self because, in all honesty, like you can't be 100% your authentic self with everyone or everywhere because, we always have to reserve that small little thing for ourselves, right? If you just realize that you're not being your authentic self, that's good because you're going through the moment of reflection. And reflecting is always the best thing because you realize that certain things that weren't serving you can maybe be processed and left behind or move to another section of your life so you can move forward.
Yeah, and, Em and I, for years, like we said, we didn't know we were not being ourselves, right? So, if you can, I welcome you to take a moment to reflect and think in your day to day. Are you speaking up for the things you want? Are you going for the things you want? Are you taking a chance and speaking to maybe a new colleague or a cute guy, cute girl who you want to talk to and just taking that chance? Are you applying for the job that you want? Are you joining the class that you wanna join because you have an interest in art? Are you wearing that outfit that you wanna wear? Just, like, showing up for yourself and, like, taking up space, it's all a culmination of all these little moments. In our day to day, we think it's nothing. "Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna speak up during that meeting. It really doesn't matter. I'm not gonna wear that outfit because you know what? I'm not ready for it." But then, as you do this repeatedly and repeatedly, you realize you are restricting yourself. So we hope that you all really do take the space that you deserve. I promise you, you deserve it. And please be gentle with yourself during this process, during this reflection period, because it's hard.
Right. And with that being said, we're going to start wrapping it up. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the episode. And again, sorry if it was a little choppy. We are processing in real time. And hopefully, you guys processed with us too. But for next episode 44, we are going to be talking about the now. We're bringing this to now, what we're trying to do to use style in our benefit.
Yes, and don't forget to join us for our next episode. We post on Sundays, and technically the last 2 weeks we posted on during the weekday.
Yeah.
We're been going through some difficulties with editing and all of that, but we're trying to catch up. And most importantly, as always, don't forget we're rooting for you. Bye.
Bye, guys.